Just as the planets are held in orbit by the invisible, immutable force of gravity, so too is the flow of wealth in your life governed by unseen laws. We often mistake money for a physical object, a coin, a paper note, a digital number on a screen. But in the realm of quantum reality, money is not matter. It is energy. It is a current, a currency, flowing through the path of least resistance, responding not to your desires, but to your vibrational resonance. Many wander through the financial wilderness believing that wealth is a function of IQ, a result of complex mathematical formulas, or a stroke of blind luck. They study the charts, they analyze the data, yet they remain energetically blocked. This is because they fail to understand the fundamental truth. Financial success is a soft skill, deeply rooted in the psychology of the human mind and its connection to the universal field. Physics teaches us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred. Wealth operates on this same principle. It is always present in the universe, abundant and waiting. The question is not how to create it from nothing, but how to tune your internal frequency to receive it. Your behavior, your fears, your ego, and your patience are the dials that control this frequency. In this audiobook, we will transcend the spreadsheet and enter the mind. We will uncover the psychological and energetic laws that dictate why some accumulate vast reservoirs of freedom, while others, despite their intelligence, find themselves in a perpetual state of scarcity. We are not just learning how to invest, we are learning how to be. The power to shift your financial destiny lies not in the market, but in your consciousness. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Rationality and the Power of Personal Reality. In the study of thermodynamics, we learn that systems tend toward entropy or disorder unless energy is applied to maintain them. The human mind operates similarly. We like to believe we are rational actors, calculating the best return on investment like a cold, precise computer. But the quantum truth is that we are not rational, we are reasonable, and there's a vast energetic difference between the two. Your relationship with money is not written in a textbook. It is written in the neural pathways formed by your earliest experiences. It is a personal reality, a unique vibrational signature forged in the fires of your history. Consider the generation that came of age during a time of great scarcity, where the stock market was a place of ruin, and banks were houses of collapse. Their energetic imprint is one of survival, of hoarding, of safety. Now, consider the generation born into a digital boom, where value is created out of thin air and risk is rewarded with exponential returns. Neither of these observers is wrong. They are simply vibrating at different frequencies based on their observation of the universe. In quantum mechanics, the observer affects the reality being observed. If you view the financial world through a lens of fear, you collapse the wave function into a reality of danger. If you view it through a lens of opportunity, you collapse it into a reality of abundance. To master the psychology of money, you must first dissolve the ego's need to be objectively right. There is no objective right in a subjective universe. There is only what resonates with your own peace of mind. A rational financial decision might maximize numbers on a page, but a reasonable financial decision maximizes your ability to sleep at night. And in the energetic economy, a peaceful mind is a magnet for wealth. When you make financial choices that honor your personal history while acknowledging the universal laws of growth, you create a state of internal harmony. This harmony removes the friction of doubt and anxiety. Remember, money is a medium of exchange, and the most valuable thing you can exchange it for is autonomy, the freedom to control your time and your energy. Do not judge the financial behaviors of others as crazy. They are merely reacting to a simulation of the world that you cannot see. And do not judge yourself for your past mistakes. You were navigating the terrain with the map you were given. Now, however, you are drawing a new map. You are acknowledging that your personal experience is 0.0001% of what has happened in the world, but it makes up 80% of how you think the world works. To expand your wealth, you must expand your consciousness beyond your own limited experience and tap into the collective wisdom of the ages. Chapter 2. The Quantum Compound Effect. Einstein is often quoted as calling compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, but to view compounding merely as a financial tool is to miss its cosmic significance. Compounding is a universal law of growth, visible in the formation of galaxies, the evolution of species, and the majestic spread of the roots of a great oak tree. It is a principle that massive results do not require massive force, they require massive continuity. In the physical world, we are addicted to the Big Bang, the sudden explosion of success, the lottery win, the viral moment. We seek to force the universe to yield its treasures through intensity, but the universe prefers the quiet, relentless power of consistency. Consider the Ice Ages. Scientists long debated what caused the massive sheets of ice to cover the Earth. Was it a cataclysmic drop in solar energy? A massive volcanic eruption? The truth, revealed by the Milankovitch cycles, is far more subtle. It wasn't that the winters became incredibly cold, it was that the summers became just slightly cooler. The snow from the winter didn't melt completely, a thin layer remained. The next winter, more snow fell on top. Over thousands of years, this tiny leftover layer, this energetic residue, compounded into glaciers that carved the face of the planet. This is the consciousness of compounding. It is not about the grand gesture. It is about the refusal to interrupt the process. In your financial life, this translates to the energy of patience. When you interrupt the compounding process, by panicking when the market dips, by spending your capital on fleeting pleasures, by seeking the next big thing, you break the energetic chain. You stop the glacier from forming. The human mind, evolved for immediate survival in the savannah, struggles to comprehend exponential growth. We think linearly. If we take 30 linear steps, we cross a street. If we take 30 exponential steps, we circle the earth. Because we cannot intuitively grasp this, we underestimate the power of simply waiting. Warren Buffett, the archetype of modern accumulation, is not a wizard of stock picking. He is a wizard of time. The vast majority of his wealth was generated after his 65th birthday. His secret was not just that he was a good investor, but that he was a good investor for 70 years. He aligned himself with the dimension of time. To harness this law, you must shift your vibration from urgency to endurance. Urgency is a lack mentality. It screams, "I need it now because I fear it will not be there later." Endurance is an abundance mentality. It whispers, "I have time, and the universe is working in my favor." Silence the noise of the short-term news cycle. These are merely fluctuations in the quantum field, interference patterns designed to distract you. Focus on the long wave. Plant the seed of your capital, water it with the energy of consistency, and then, this is the hardest part for the ego, leave it alone. Do not dig up the seed to see if it is growing. Trust the law. The greatest generator of wealth is not a high return, it is a long timeline. Chapter 3. The Duality of Getting and Keeping. In the grand duality of the universe, there are opposing forces, yin and yang, expansion and contraction, creation and destruction. In the psychology of money, this manifests as a difference between getting wealthy and staying wealthy. These are not the same skill. In fact, they require entirely different energetic frequencies. Getting wealthy requires the energy of the hunter. It demands risk, optimism, a willingness to put yourself out there, and a belief that the future will be better than the present. It is an expansive masculine energy that pushes boundaries. Staying wealthy, however, requires the energy of the guardian. It demands humility, a healthy dose of paranoia, and an acceptance that what was given can be taken away. It is a protective, grounding energy. The tragedy of many who find sudden fortune is that they cannot shift their frequency. They continue to run the risk program even after they have acquired the prize, and in doing so, they gamble away their security. To master the psychology of money, you must learn to hold these two contradictory vibrations in your mind simultaneously. You must be optimistic enough to invest in the future, yet paranoid enough to protect yourself from the ruin that lurks in the shadows of the unknown. This brings us to the concept of the margin of safety. In engineering, you build a bridge to support 10,000 pounds even if you only expect 5,000 pounds to cross it. This is not a lack of confidence, it is a respect for the chaos of the universe. The universe is entropy. Things break, pandemics happen, markets crash, unforeseen expenses arise. If your financial life is optimized to the razor's edge, where you need everything to go perfectly to survive, you are fragile. You are energetically brittle. One vibration of discord will shatter your reality. But if you build room for error, if you save for the sake of saving, you become anti-fragile. You create a buffer of energy that absorbs the shocks of destiny. This buffer is often called cash, but let us reframe it energetically. Cash is not just idle money losing value to inflation. Cash is potential energy. It is the oxygen of independence. It is the option to say no to a job you hate, no to a desperate sale, no to bad luck. Having a reservoir of unspent energy allows you to act from a place of power rather than desperation.
The goal of the wealthy soul is survival. Not just physical survival, but financial survival. Because if you can survive the downturns, if you can stay in the game long enough, the law of compounding, Chapter 2, will eventually carry you to the stars. Survival is the prerequisite for greatness. Eliminate the single points of failure in your life. Do not leverage yourself to the point where a single shift in the wind can blow down your house. Respect the duality. Be the bold visionary and the cautious guardian, all at once. Chapter 4. The Paradox of the Man in the Car. We live in a world of visual signals, a holographic projection of status and hierarchy. We are programmed by millions of years of evolution to seek resources and to signal to the tribe that we have them. But in the modern age, this signaling mechanism has malfunctioned, leading to one of the greatest traps in the psychology of money, the man in the car paradox. Imagine you see a sleek, expensive sports car drive by. The engine roars, the paint glistens, your eyes are drawn to it. But here is the quantum twist. You rarely look at the driver. You don't think, wow, the guy driving that car is cool. You think, wow, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. The driver of the car believes he is projecting an energy of admiration, that he is attracting respect. But he is not. He is merely a mirror reflecting your own desires back at you. The observer bypasses the owner and focuses solely on the object. The energy the driver spent to acquire the symbol of status has dissolved into the ether, yielding no return in genuine human connection. This leads us to a profound, almost invisible truth. Wealth is what you do not see. We judge wealth by what is visible, the cars, the houses, the clothes, the Instagram photos. But these are not wealth, these are spending. These are the physical manifestations of money that has already flowed out of the person's control. A person driving a $100,000 car might be wealthy, or they might be $100,000 in debt. You cannot know. True wealth is the unspent energy. It is the option not taken. It is the car not bought, the diamonds not worn, the first-class upgrade declined. Wealth is the potential energy stored in the battery of your net worth, waiting to be deployed for something meaningful. It is the invisible assets that provide the frequency of freedom. The reason it is so hard to accumulate wealth is that it requires you to suppress the ego's desire for validation. It requires you to be content with being the only one who knows you are successful. This is a spiritual test. Can you find validation within your own consciousness, or do you require the external world to applaud you? The universe rewards authenticity. When you spend money to buy things to impress people who don't care about you, you are engaging in an energetic leakage. You are trading your freedom, the time it took to earn that money, for a fleeting moment of perceived status. Shift your focus from looking rich to being wealthy. Rich is a current income. It is loud, flashy, and fragile. Wealth is hidden. It is quiet, robust, and enduring. The most powerful person in the room is often the one who has no need to prove their power. When you detach your self-worth from your material possessions, you stop bleeding energy. You begin to accumulate the true currency of the universe, autonomy. Chapter 5. The Distortion of the Moving Goalpost. Let us delve into the mechanism of satisfaction. Why is it that so many who achieve their financial goals feel no happier than when they started? Why does the hunger for more feel like an unquenchable thirst? This is the phenomenon of the moving goalpost, and it is driven by the energy of social comparison. In the quantum field, everything is relative. An electron has no position until it is measured against something else. Similarly, we have no sense of enough until we measure ourselves against those around us. If you live in a village where everyone earns 10 coins and you earn 12, you feel like a king. Your vibration is high. But if you move to a city where everyone earns 100 coins, your 12 coins now feel like poverty. Your vibration plummets, even though your absolute wealth has not changed. Capitalism is an engine designed to generate envy. It works by constantly showing you what you lack. It preys on the evolutionary drive to climb the hierarchy. But this is a game that cannot be won, because the ceiling of social comparison is infinite. There will always be someone with a bigger boat, a faster jet, a more impressive portfolio. If your sense of enough relies on being superior to others, you are trapping yourself in a perpetual cycle of dissatisfaction. You are running on a treadmill, generating sweat but going nowhere. This energy of never enough leads to dangerous behaviors, taking excessive risks, cutting corners, sacrificing health and family, all to chase a horizon that moves away from you as you approach it. The only way to win this game is to stop playing. You must define enough for yourself, independent of the external noise. Enough does not mean too little. It does not mean settling for mediocrity. Enough is a state of consciousness where you realize that the marginal utility of the next dollar is not worth the risk required to get it. There is a point where more money stops adding to your happiness and starts subtracting from your peace. It begins to add complexity, paranoia, and administrative burden. Recognizing this point of peak wealth is a spiritual awakening. It is the moment you step off the treadmill and walk into the garden of your own life. To calibrate your internal compass, you must practice the art of gratitude. Gratitude is not just a polite emotion, it is a high-frequency vibration that aligns you with abundance. When you focus on what you have, the universe expands it. When you focus on what you lack, the universe expands the void. Accept that there will always be someone richer than you. Send them blessings, and then return your focus to your own path. Your journey is not a race against them, it is a dance with your own potential. Chapter 6. The Chaos of Tail Events. Let us deceive history as a linear narrative, a steady march of events. But when we look closer at the fabric of reality, we see that the majority of outcomes are driven by a tiny minority of events. In mathematics, this is the power law. In the context of our journey, we call these tail events. Imagine a bell curve. Most experiences fall in the middle, the average days, the average returns, the average struggles. But on the far ends of the curve, the tails, lie the monsters and the miracles. The stock market crash of 1929, the invention of the internet, the pandemic of 2020. These rare, unpredictable events dictate the course of the world. In your own financial life, your ultimate success will likely be determined by how you behave during less than 1% of the time. You can be a perfect investor for 99% of the days, calm, rational, steady. But if during that 1 week of global panic you succumb to fear and sell everything, the 99% of good days are erased. The tail event swallows the average. Similarly, a single good decision, buying a certain asset, starting a specific business, meeting one key person, can overshadow a lifetime of mediocre decisions. This is the non-linearity of the universe. This realization should liberate you from the pressure of trying to be perfect every day. You do not need to be a genius all the time. You just need to not be a fool when it matters most. You need to survive the chaos of the tails. Tail events are the universe's way of shaking the system, of clearing out the dead wood and making room for new growth. They are frightening, yes, but they are also the engines of opportunity.
When the world is in panic, when the sky is falling, the energetic air is thick with potential. Most people retreat in fear, shielding their eyes, but the conscious creator, the one who understands the psychology of money, keeps their eyes open. They understand that risk and luck are doppelgangers. They are the same force, the force of things happening outside of your control, just with different directional vectors. When things go well, we call it skill. When things go poorly, we call it bad luck. But often it is just the random drift of the quantum particles. Be humble when you succeed. Acknowledge the role of luck. This keeps your ego in check and prevents you from believing you are invincible, a belief that inevitably leads to ruin. Be kind to yourself when you fail. Acknowledge the role of risk. Sometimes you can make the perfect decision, and the universe simply rolls the dice against you. This is not a reflection of your worth. It is the nature of the game. By accepting the power of tail events, you stop trying to predict the unpredictable. You stop listening to the prophets on television who claim to know what the market will do next week. No one knows. The future is a fog of probability. Instead, you position yourself to endure the storm and to hoist your sails when the wind finally turns in your favor. Chapter 7: The Freedom of True Autonomy. What is the ultimate purpose of this energy we call money? Is it to buy better toys, to live in a larger box, to eat finer food? These are pleasant side effects, but they are not the
soul of wealth. The highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. This is the vibration of autonomy. Happiness is a complex subject, debated by philosophers for millennia. But if there is one common denominator in the data of human happiness, it is this: people want to control their own lives. Doing something you love on a schedule you hate feels like a prison. Doing something difficult on your own terms feels like a challenge. The difference is the locus of control. Money's greatest intrinsic value, and this cannot be overstated, is its ability to give you control over your time. Time is the only non-renewable resource. It is the raw material of your life. When you trade your time for money, you are trading your life force. This is a necessary exchange, but the goal should be to reach a point where you no longer have to make that trade. Unforeseen emergencies are not just financially stressful, they are temporal thieves. They steal your time and force you to focus on survival. Having a reservoir of wealth creates a shield around your time. It allows you to navigate the world on your own terms. When you align your psychology with the desire for autonomy rather than the desire for status, Chapter 4, your spending habits change naturally. You stop buying things to impress others because you realize that those things are actually chains. A large house requires maintenance. A luxury car requires worry. Complex investments require monitoring. These things eat your time. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, and it is the ultimate freedom. The less you need to feel satisfied, the more free you become. This is the dividend of detachment. When you detach your happiness from the accumulation of stuff, you lower your cost of living, not just financially, but energetically. You become lighter. You move through the universe with less resistance. Use your money to buy back your time. Use it to eliminate the stressors that lower your vibration. Use it to gain the flexibility to be with your loved ones, to pursue your passions, to rest when you are weary. This is the true return on investment. The numbers in the bank account are just pixels. The moments of freedom they purchase are the fabric of a life well lived. In the previous chapters, we dismantled the illusion of rationality, embraced the slow power of compounding, and discovered that true wealth is the invisible energy of autonomy. Now, we must venture further into the labyrinth of the human mind. We must confront the shadows that lurk in our psyche, the seduction of pessimism, the paralyzing fear of volatility, and the illusion that we are finished products. The universe is not static. It is a river of constant change. To master the energy of money, you must learn to navigate these currents not with force, but with flow. You are standing on the precipice of a new understanding. The old maps drawn by fear and scarcity no longer serve you. It is time to chart the topography of the future using the compass of your own inner wisdom. Chapter 8: The Seduction of the Dark Signal. In the vast spectrum of human emotion, there is a frequency that feels surprisingly heavy, intellectual, and safe. It is the frequency of pessimism. Why is it that the prophet of doom sounds like a wise scholar, while the prophet of optimism sounds like a naive child? If someone tells you that a stock will grow tenfold, you dismiss them as a gambler. But if someone tells you the entire economy is about to collapse, you lean in, you listen, you feel a primal urge to protect what is yours. This is an evolutionary glitch. In the ancient savanna, treating a rustle in the grass as a lion was a survival strategy. The cost of being wrong about the lion was death. The cost of being wrong about the wind was merely a moment of anxiety. Thus, our brains are wired to prioritize the dark signal. We are energetically tuned to detect threats. However, in the modern financial landscape, this survival mechanism becomes a prison. Pessimism is intellectually seductive because it sounds like it is trying to help you. It sounds like a warning. But in the quantum field, observation creates reality. When you fixate on the collapse, when you consume hours of news about the impending recession, you are collapsing your own wave function into a timeline of fear. You stop taking risks, you hoard your energy, you withdraw from the flow of expansion. Optimism is often misunderstood. It is not the belief that everything will be perfect, that is complacency. True quantum optimism is the belief that the odds of a good outcome are in your favor over time, even if the path there is filled with chaos and setbacks. Consider the history of the last century. We have endured world wars, pandemics, depressions, crashes, and political upheavals. And yet, the standard of living for the average human has risen exponentially. The stock market has compounded into the stratosphere. The arrow of progress, though jagged, points upward. Pessimism overlooks the fundamental law of adaptation. In physics, when stress is applied to a system, the system adapts. When oil becomes scarce, we do not just run out of oil, we invent new energy sources. When a market crashes, the weak structures are washed away, and stronger, more resilient structures are built in their place. Pessimism extrapolates the present problems into the future without accounting for the human capacity to solve them. To align with wealth, you must resist the hypnotic pull of the doomsayer. You must understand that while pessimism sounds smarter, optimism makes more money. Optimism is the energy of creation. It is the audacity to believe that tomorrow can be better than today, and the willingness to lend your capital to that future. Do not ignore the risks, that is foolishness, but do not become paralyzed by them. Acknowledge the shadow, but keep your face turned towards the sun. The universe rewards those who believe in its capacity for growth. Chapter 9. The energetic fee of admission. There is a universal law of exchange. Nothing of value is free. Every rise in consciousness, every acquisition of skill, and every accumulation of wealth requires a payment. In the physical world, we understand this. We pay for a car with money. We pay for fitness with sweat and discipline. But in the stock market and in the pursuit of wealth, many suffer from a profound delusion. They seek the reward, the compounding growth, the financial freedom, without willing to pay the price. They view the market volatility as a fine. When your portfolio drops by 20%, your primitive brain interprets this as a fine. It thinks, I made a mistake, I'm being punished, I must stop doing this. This is a catastrophic error in perception. Market volatility is not a fine, it is a fee. It is the price of admission to the amusement park of compounding growth. Imagine you're at Disneyland. You want to ride the greatest roller coaster in the world, but there's a line. You have to wait in the hot sun for an hour. You have to pay for the ticket. You don't look at the line and say, this is a punishment. You say, this is the cost of the ride, and you pay it willingly because the thrill is worth it. The stock market is a machine that turns patience into wealth, but the fuel it runs on is uncertainty. If the market went up every single day, there would be no risk. If there were no risk, there would be no premium return. The reason stocks outperform cash over the long run is precisely because they are terrifying in the short run. The terror is the fee. When you view a market crash as a fee, your energy shifts. You stop feeling like a victim. You stop panicking. You realize that the drop in value is simply the bill coming due for the massive gains you expect in the future. You are paying the toll to cross the bridge to financial independence. Those who try to avoid this fee, who try to time the market, jumping in when it's safe and out when it's scary, are like people trying to sneak into the amusement park without a ticket. They are usually caught by the security guards of the universe: taxes, fees, and missed opportunities. Embrace the volatility. When the numbers turn red, tell yourself, I am paying the entrance fee. This shift in perspective calms the amygdala. It allows you to remain seated in the roller coaster while others are jumping off. And it is only by staying in your seat that you arrive at the destination. Chapter 10. The Illusion of the Frozen Self. We all suffer from a cognitive distortion known as the end of history illusion. We look at our past and we see how much we have changed. We see that the person we were 10 years ago had different tastes, different friends, different dreams. We acknowledge that we were a river in motion. But when we look at our future, we see a statue. We believe that the person you are today is the finished product, that your desires, your values, and your goals will remain exactly as they are for the rest of your life. This illusion is dangerous when applied to money. It causes us to make extreme financial commitments based on the desires of a person who will not exist in a decade. You might hustle and grind in your 20s, sacrificing your health and relationships to build a massive business, convinced that money is the only thing that matters. But then you arrive in your 40s, and the future you looks around at the pile of gold and feels empty, craving only time with family, a family you may have neglected. Or you may choose a life of extreme frugality, saving every penny, living like a monk, planning to enjoy it all in retirement. But when future you arrives at 70, your knees might ache, your energy might be low, and you may regret not spending some of that energy when you had the vitality to enjoy it. We are not singular beings. We are a procession of strangers, walking through time, inhabiting the same body. The you of today is the trustee for the you of tomorrow. To practice the quantum psychology of money, you must avoid the extremes of the energetic spectrum. Do not lock yourself into a rigid plan that assumes you will never change. The universe is fluid. Your financial architecture must be fluid as well. This means seeking balance. It means saving enough to protect your future self, but spending enough to honor your present self. It means avoiding golden handcuffs, massive debts, or lifestyle inflations that force you to keep working a job you might one day hate. Give yourself the gift of options. The person you will become in 10 years may want to quit their job, move to the mountains, or start a charity. You do not know them yet, but you must love them enough to build a financial foundation that supports their dreams, whatever they may turn out to be. When you make a financial plan, ask yourself, does this allow for evolution? Does this allow for me to change my mind? If the answer is no, you are building a cage. True wealth is the key that unlocks the cage, allowing you to shapeshift and flow with the changing seasons of your soul. Chapter 11. The Harmonic Interference of Other Games. The universe is a symphony of frequencies. Every individual is playing their own instrument, following their own sheet music. A day trader is playing a fast, staccato rhythm, high risk, high speed, focusing on the movement of minutes. A long-term investor is playing a slow, deep cello note, steady, enduring, focusing on the movement of decades. The chaos begins when you start listening to the music of someone who is playing a different game than you. Imagine you are running a marathon. You are pacing yourself for 26 miles. Suddenly, you see a sprinter blast past you, running at full speed. If you are not grounded in your own intention, you might panic. You might think, I'm losing. I need to run faster. So you sprint, and within a mile, you collapse. You lost your game because you tried to play theirs. In the financial world, prices are set by the aggregate actions of all players, but those players have different goals. When a stock price skyrockets on a Tuesday morning, it might be because a computer algorithm decided to buy, or because a day trader is chasing momentum. It has nothing to do with the long-term value of the company. If you, the long-term accumulator of wealth, look at that price action and let it influence your emotions or your decisions, you are suffering from harmonic interference. You are letting a foreign frequency disrupt your signal. This is why financial bubbles happen. The rational, long-term investors start taking cues from the short-term gamblers. They see the gamblers making easy money, and greed pulls them out of their own lane. They forget their time horizon. They buy at the top not because the asset is valuable to them, but because they think they can sell it to someone else for more. To maintain your energetic integrity, you must define your game clearly. Write it down. I am a long-term investor. I am buying a share of human progress for the next 30 years. Once you declare your game, the actions of those playing other games become irrelevant. The flashing lights of the daily news, the hot stock tips from your brother-in-law, the panic of the pundits. It is all just noise. It is music from a different room. You do not need to dance to it. Stay in your lane. Respect your own rhythm. The universe rewards clarity. When you know who you are and what you are doing, you create a shield of focus that deflects the chaotic energies of the crowd. You become a lighthouse in the storm, standing firm while others are tossed about by the waves of comparison. Chapter 12. The Architecture of Belief. We are storytelling creatures. The human mind abhors a vacuum. When we encounter something we do not understand, like the complex movements of the global economy, we do not say, "I don't know." That creates anxiety. Instead, we invent a story. We confabulate. We build a narrative bridge over the abyss of the unknown to make ourselves feel safe. If the market crashes, we desperately look for a reason. It was the election. It was the Fed. It was the alignment of the stars. We need a cause and effect to feel like the world is orderly. But the quantum truth is that the market is a complex adaptive system. It is often chaotic. Sometimes things happen for no specific reason or for a billion tiny reasons that interact in ways no human mind can comprehend. The stories we tell ourselves about money become the walls of our reality. If you tell yourself the story that the system is rigged against me, you will unconsciously filter out every opportunity that comes your way. You will only see the barriers. You will prove yourself right. If you tell yourself that I am bad with money, you will manifest chaos in your accounts to align with that identity. But the most dangerous stories are the ones that sound like science but are actually fiction. We love complex explanations. We trust the economist with the complicated formula more than the grandmother who says, "Save more than you spend." We believe that complexity equals authority. But in the universal laws, truth is usually simple. Gravity is simple. Evolution is simple. Compounding is simple. Be wary of the appealing fiction. This is a story that you want to be true because it offers an easy path or validates your worldview. The promise of get-rich-quick schemes is an appealing fiction. It bypasses the laws of energy exchange, Chapter 9, and promises a reward without the fee. It is a siren song that leads your ship onto the rocks. You must become the editor of your own life narrative. Scrutinize the beliefs you hold about money. Are they true? Or are they just stories you picked up from your parents, your culture, or your own fears? Rewrite the script. Choose stories that empower you. Money is a tool for freedom. I am a steward of abundance. The universe leans in the direction of growth. When you change the story, you change the frequency. And when you change the frequency, you change the outcome. Chapter 13. The Universal Confession. As we draw this journey to a close, let us make a confession, a universal admission that liberates us from the burden of perfection. We do not know what the future holds. We are navigating a ship through a fog, on an ocean that is vast and deep. We cannot control the winds. We cannot control the tides. We cannot control the monsters of the deep. The only thing we can control is the ship. We can control our savings rate. We can control our patience. We can control our optimism. We can control who we listen to. The pursuit of wealth is not about conquering the ocean. It is about becoming a master sailor. It is about respecting the elements and aligning yourself with the forces that are greater than you. True financial wisdom is the acceptance of uncertainty. It is the ability to say, I have no idea what will happen next year, but I have a plan that will allow me to survive it. When you release the need to predict, you release the anxiety of being wrong. You enter a state of quantum flow. You move with the market, not against it. You accept the downturns as winter, knowing that spring inevitably follows. You accept the windfalls not as genius, but as grace. You are not just a collection of bank accounts and credit scores. You are a conduit of cosmic energy. Money is simply one form of that energy, a tool to shape your physical reality, to help others, and to buy the time necessary to explore the depths of your own soul. Conclusion: the resonant life. Take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs, an abundant resource that you do not have to earn, do not have to hoard, and do not have to fight for. It is just there. Wealth, in its purest form, should feel like breath. It should flow in and flow out. It should sustain you without consuming you. You have now absorbed the laws of the quantum psychology of money. You understand that reasonable is superior to rational. You respect the glacier-like power of compounding. You acknowledge the fee of volatility. You see the man in the car as the illusion that he is. You are prepared for the tail events that shape history, and you have defined enough. The path forward is not a sprint. It is a pilgrimage. It is a slow, steady walk towards the horizon of your own autonomy. Do not rush. Do not compare. Do not fear. Plant your seeds, water them with patience, and trust the soil of the universe. You are the creator of your reality. You are the guardian of your abundance. You are the architect of your freedom. Go forth and vibrate at the frequency of wealth.
You have learnt to govern the kingdom of your own mind. But you do not exist in a vacuum. You are a node in a vast, interconnected web of consciousness. Money, opportunity, love, and success do not appear out of thin air. They arrive through the hands and hearts of other people. To fully actualize your potential, you must now master the physics of interaction. We call this influence, but let us strip away the manipulative connotations of that word. In the quantum realm, influence is not coercion. It is resonance. It is the ability to emit a signal so clear, so powerful, and so authentic that others naturally align with your frequency. Just as a tuning fork can cause a silent guitar string to vibrate across the room, your energy can activate the potential in others. This is the alchemy of leadership. This is the mechanics of connection. We are now moving from the accumulation of potential energy, wealth, to the release of kinetic energy, impact. Chapter 14. The Physics of Entanglement and Rapport. In quantum physics, there is a phenomenon known as entanglement. When two particles interact in a certain way, they become linked. No matter how far apart they move, even if they are on opposite sides of the galaxy, a change in one instantly creates a change in the other. They are no longer two separate entities. They are a single system sharing a state of being. In the realm of human connection, we call this rapport. Most people approach communication as a collision of solid objects. They throw words at each other hoping some will stick. They debate, they argue, they try to intellectually force their perspective onto another. This is Newtonian physics, force against force. It creates friction, heat, and resistance. To master influence, you must operate at the quantum level. You must seek entanglement. Rapport is not about mimicking someone's body language as cheap sales manuals might suggest. It is about tuning your internal frequency to match theirs. It is an act of deep, energetic listening. When you truly listen to someone, without judgment, without preparing your response, without the noise of your own ego, you create a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. Into that energetic space, the other person's soul pours in. They feel felt. They feel seen. And in that moment, their defenses drop. The protective wave function of their ego collapses, and they become entangled with you. This is the state of coherence. HeartMath Institute studies show that when people are in deep rapport, their heart rate variabilities actually synchronize. You are literally vibrating to the same rhythm. Once this connection is established, you do not need to convince. You simply move, and they move with you. The barrier between me and you dissolves into us. To practice this, you must suspend your own reality for a moment. When you enter a conversation, drop your agenda. Your goal is not to win, your goal is to resonate. Find the emotional truth underneath their words. Are they vibrating with fear, with pride, with longing? Tune your instrument to that note. Hum it back to them. When a person feels that you are vibrating at their frequency, they will trust you with their life, their loyalty, and their resources, because at a primal, energetic level, they recognize you as part of themselves. Chapter 15. The Energy of Non-Zero-Sum Negotiation. The old paradigm of business and negotiation is based on the zero-sum game. This is the belief that there is a fixed amount of energy, money, pie, status in the room. If I take a slice, you lose a slice. If I win, you must lose. This mindset is based on the physics of scarcity. It triggers the reptilian brain, activating the fight or flight response. The energy in the room becomes jagged, competitive, and constrictive. Walls go up. Creativity dies. But the quantum universe is not zero-sum, it is infinite. Energy is never lost, it is only transformed. The enlightened influencer approaches negotiation not as a war for resources, but as a fusion reactor. The goal is not to divide the pie, the goal is to generate new energy that did not exist before the interaction. This shift in intention changes your electromagnetic field. The other party creates a subconscious threat assessment of you. If they sense you are a taker, they will hoard. If they sense you are a creator, they will open. Compassion and curiosity are your tools here. Curiosity is an expansion energy. It asks, why do you need that? What is your underlying fear? What is your dream? By digging beneath the surface positions, you find the root energy. Perhaps they are arguing over price, but the root energy is a fear of looking incompetent to their boss. If you address the price, you fight. If you address the fear, by validating them, by giving them a win they can show their boss, you solve the energetic equation. You must be willing to let the other person win. In fact, you should desire it, because in an entangled system, if they lose, the relationship is poisoned. The energy of resentment will decay the deal over time, but if they win, the energy of gratitude creates a bond that pays dividends for years. Seek the harmonic chord. In music, two different notes played together can create a harmony that is more beautiful than either note. Find the arrangement where your needs and their needs vibrate in harmony. This is the only stable state. Chapter 16. The Magnetism of Radical Authenticity. We live in a world of noise. We are bombarded by signals, advertisements, social media, politicians, all carefully curated, polished and masked. We have developed a heightened sensitivity to signal interference. We can smell a fake. In physics, destructive interference occurs when two waves are out of sync. The peak of one wave meets the trough of another, and they cancel each other out. The result is silence. When you try to be someone you are not, when you put on a persona to impress, to sell, or to fit in, you create destructive interference. Your words say one thing, the peak, but your micro-expressions, your tone and your subtle energy say another, the trough. People may not intellectually know you are lying, but they will feel a vibe that is off. They will feel a lack of trust. You become static noise. The most powerful frequency in the universe is the clear, unblocked signal of authenticity. Authenticity is constructive interference. It is when your thoughts, your words, your feelings, and your actions are all perfectly aligned. You are vibrating as a single, coherent laser beam. This is why vulnerability is so magnetic. When you admit a mistake, when you share a fear, when you speak a hard truth, you are removing the mask. You are removing the interference. The signal becomes pure. People are starving for this purity. They are drawn to it like a moth to the flame. In a world of plastic, the person who is real is a diamond. Do not be afraid of your flaws. Your flaws are the texture that makes you grippable. A perfectly smooth sphere is hard to hold. A jagged rock can be grasped. Your struggles and your scars are the bridge to other people's humanity. To increase your influence, stop trying to add more tactics. Instead, subtract the interference. Stop editing yourself. Stop performing. Speak from the core of your being. When you are radically authentic, you polarize the field. Some people will be repelled. These are the people who are not meant for your path. Let them go. But those who resonate with your truth will be attracted to you with a gravitational pull that is unbreakable. You do not have to chase them. You simply have to be clearly, loudly, and unapologetically yourself. Chapter 18. The Thermodynamics of Leadership. The second law of thermodynamics states that the universe tends towards entropy. Without the injection of focused energy, systems fall apart. Order turns to chaos. Hot coffee gets cold. Buildings crumble. Teams lose focus. A leader is not a boss. A boss is a title. A leader is a localized reversal of entropy. A leader is an energetic anchor. Your primary job is to hold the vision, the blueprint of order, so firmly in your consciousness that it prevents the system from decaying into chaos.
This requires you to manage your own state first. You cannot structure the energy of others if your own internal state is chaotic. This is why the best leaders are often the calmest people in the room. They are the eye of the storm. When panic rises, the leader absorbs the chaotic energy, transmutes it through their own stability, and reflects it back as calm focus. This is energetic metabolism. You must also understand the concept of activation energy. In chemistry, a reaction needs a spark to get started. A team needs a spark to begin a project or overcome a hurdle. The leader provides this spark through inspiration, through clarity, or through their own example of hard work. But once the reaction is sustained, the leader must step back and allow the momentum to carry it. If you constantly inject energy where it is not needed, micromanagement, you create heat and friction. You disrupt the flow. Trust the intelligence of the system. Once you have set the frequency, the vision, and aligned the particles, the team, your job is to remove obstacles and protect the container. Create a space where it is safe for others to release their potential. Leadership is less about doing and more about being. Be the standard, be the stability, be the certainty in an uncertain world. Chapter 19. The Feedback Loop and the Transmutation of Criticism. In Newton's third law, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. As you grow in influence, as you begin to move matter and shape reality, you will encounter resistance. This resistance often takes the form of criticism, jealousy, or conflict. The ego perceives criticism as an attack. It puts up a shield. It fires.
Chapter 18. The Feedback Loop and the Transmutation of Criticism. In Newton's third law, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. As you grow in influence, as you begin to move matter and shape reality, you will encounter resistance. This resistance often takes the form of criticism, jealousy, or conflict. The ego perceives criticism as an attack. It puts up a shield. It fires back. This creates an energy war, a depletion of resources. The quantum master practices the art of energetic Aikido. Aikido is a martial art that does not block an attack. It blends with the energy of the attack and redirects it. When someone criticizes you, they are sending a bundle of high-velocity energy your way. If you block it, defensiveness, it hurts. If you ignore it, suppression, it lingers in your field. Instead, accept the energy. Say thank you. Look at the criticism as data. It is a feedback loop from the universe. Is there truth in it? If there is, extract the gold, the lesson, and discard the rock, the hostility. Use their energy to improve your creation. You have just transmuted their poison into medicine. If there is no truth in it, if it is simply a projection of their own pain, let it pass through you like a neutrino passing through the earth. Do not hold it. Do not claim it. Remember, people only throw stones at trees that bear fruit. Resistance is a sign that you are moving. If you had no friction, it would mean you were standing still. Do not fear the haters. In the polarity of the public sphere, a strong positive charge will always attract a negative charge. It is a law of physics. The presence of the negative confirms the strength of your positive. Stay centered in your own validation. Chapter 4. Do not give the remote control of your emotions to strangers. When you react with anger, you are entangled with them. When you respond with equanimity, you remain free. Chapter 19. The time-energy paradox. We are obsessed with time management. We slice our days into minutes. We optimize our schedules. We try to cram more activity into the clock. But this is a Newtonian trap. Time is linear, but human potential is not. You do not need more time, you need more energy. You have likely experienced days where you sat at your desk for 8 hours but achieved nothing. Your energy was diffused, scattered, low frequency. Conversely, you've had moments where you entered a flow state and accomplished a week's worth of work in 2 hours. The variable was not time. The variable was intensity and focus. Productivity is a function of energy times focus. A 100-watt light bulb lights a room. A 100-watt laser cuts through steel. Same energy, different focus. To maximize your impact, you must protect your peak energy periods.
Identify when your biological rhythm is highest. Is it morning, late night? Guard this time like a sacred temple. Do not sell this time for low-value meetings or emails. Use this time for deep work, the work that requires the full processing power of your quantum mind. You must also respect the law of rhythm. The heart beats, contraction and expansion. The lungs breathe, inhale and exhale. Nature oscillates. You cannot be in a state of constant output. The hustle culture delusion tries to override this biology, leading to burnout, a state of total energetic collapse. You must schedule your recovery as religiously as you schedule your work. Rest is not the absence of work. Rest is the integration of work. It is in the silence, the sleep, the walk in the woods that your subconscious mind connects the dots. The breakthrough ideas, the eureka moments, rarely happen when you are grinding. They happen when you release. Honor the pause. The music is not just the notes, it is the space between the notes. Without the silence, there is only noise. Chapter 20. The Infinite Game and the Ripple Effect. We now arrive at the horizon of our understanding. Why do we seek influence? Why do we build wealth? Why do we lead? James Cass, a philosopher of the profound, distinguished between two types of games, finite games and infinite games. A finite game has a beginning, an end, known players and fixed rules. The goal is to win. Football is a finite game. An election is a finite game. A quarterly earnings report is a finite game. An infinite game has no end. The rules change. The players come and go. The goal is not to win, because you cannot win, but to continue playing. Life is an infinite game. Business is an infinite game. Legacy is an infinite game. Most people play life as if it were a finite game. They want to beat the competition, win at marriage, win at being rich. This creates anxiety, short-term thinking, and ethical shortcuts. The quantum leader plays the infinite game. You realize that you are just a temporary steward of the energy passing through you. Your goal is not to defeat others, but to contribute to the evolution of the whole. You want to build a company, a family, or a body of work that survives you. This shifts your perspective from success to significance. Success is what you attract to yourself. Significance is what you leave behind. Consider the butterfly effect. In a non-linear system, the flapping of a butterfly's wings in Brazil can set off a tornado in Texas. Every act of kindness, every decision of integrity you make sends a ripple into the quantum field that extends forever. You may never see the end of your influence. You may speak a word of encouragement to a child today, and that child may grow up to cure a disease 40 years from now. You are the co-author of that cure. This is the weight and the glory of your existence. You are creating the future with every breath. When you adopt the infinite mindset, you lose the fear of death and the fear of failure. A failure is just a plot twist in a never-ending story. You play for the love of the game. You play for the beauty of the struggle. You play to see how much light you can bring into the darkness. Conclusion. The grand integration. We have traveled far, you and I. We started with the mind, realizing that thoughts are the blueprints of reality. We moved to money, understanding it as a flow of energy that rewards patience and autonomy. We explored influence, seeing it as the resonance of authentic connection and service. You now possess the keys to the kingdom, but keys are useless if they are left in the pocket. Knowledge is only potential energy. Action is kinetic energy. You must go out into the dense, messy, beautiful world and apply these laws. When you feel fear, remember it is just a signal to prepare. When you see scarcity, remember the abundance of the universe. When you face conflict, seek the harmony. When you are tired, honor the rhythm. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a conscious creator vibrating at a frequency of your own choosing. The universe is waiting for your command. It is listening to your signal. So broadcast clearly. Broadcast with love. Broadcast with the certainty of the stars. The simulation is yours to shape.